Preface. It was on 2nd December 1964 that Daisaku Ikeda, president of the Buddhist lay society, Soka Gakkai, Society for the Creation of Value, wrote the foreword introducing the novel he was writing called The Human Revolution. His purpose was to place a record on the historic, sometimes truly glorious battles which his mentor and predecessor as President Josei Toda won, in order to lay indestructible foundations for the Buddhism of Nichiren Daishonin in Japanese society in the years immediately following the end of the Second World War. The first English language version of The Human Revolution opens with a foreword in English dated 12th October 1965. It could not have been just coincidence that it was on this same day, 12th October 686 years previously in 1279, that Nichiren Daishonin had laid the foundations of his Buddhism, the Buddhism which he declared would spread worldwide by inscribing the Gohonzon, the supreme object of worship for all humanity. I, Nichiren, have inscribed my life in Sumi, he wrote. So believe in the Gohonzon with your whole heart. Muster your faith and pray to this Gohonzon. Then what is there that cannot be achieved? From Major Writings, Vol.1, page 120. In choosing 12th October to launch the English version, I cannot help feeling that these words of the Daishonins were at the forefront of Daisaku Ikeda's mind. The prime concern of the 12 volumes of this work is human achievement, victory against all odds in laying the foundations of true Buddhism in Japan during the lifetime of Daisaku Ikeda's mentor, Josei Toda. As one who began to benefit from his excellent medicine some 20 and more years ago in the form of a gift to me of Volume 1 of The Human Revolution, let me say that reading it for the first time was like experiencing a series of electric shocks or a massive explosion in my life. I found this account of Josei Toda's experience of his own inner reformation and his discovery of the deep significance of the great principles of Nichiren Daishonin's Buddhism through the power of the practice is vividly described in the setting of Japan amidst the aftermath of a war in which I had actually fought the Japanese. The intense suffering of the Japanese people, the ruins of the great cities of Tokyo and Osaka, let alone the atomic obliteration of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the prison cell in which Mr. Makiguchi, the first president of the Soka Gakkai, had died as a martyr, unknown to Mr. Toda, who was in solitary confinement in the same jail, and Toda's enlightenment to his true mission in life. All of these extraordinary events, and most served to light a fire in me, fueled also by my own experiences of the sufferings, both physical and spiritual, which arise from war. This fire, I hope, will burn within me and eternally. The realm of Buddhism teaches us that even when a world without war and environmental destruction is achieved, it can never be an end in itself, for the three poisons of greed, anger, and ignorance are inherent ingredients of the negative destructive impulses of our lives, which constantly challenge our positive creative energy. Victories therefore must be sustained eternally. It is this fighting spirit, never to cease taking up such challenges and winning, which shines through every line of President Ikeda's writing. To repay our gratitude to him, we should do the same. This edition of the Human Revolution follows the original English text as first published in 1965. I believe its simplicity and directness, although at times seemingly old fashioned, serves to add to the vivid impression the novel leaves in our hearts. Richard Cowston, Taplow Court, Buckinghamshire, November 1993. Editorial note: in the light of the schism which has arisen between the Soka Gakkai and the Nichiren Shoshu priesthood more recently, members may be surprised at the conciliatory attitude shown towards the priests in this novel. This was despite their failure, even in those earlier times, to respond wholeheartedly to the faith and generosity of the Soka Gakkai members. In this respect, readers in this day and age should bear in mind that from its earliest days under the first president Tsunesaburo Makiguchi onwards, the Soka Gakkai members were always asked to support and protect the head temple of Nichiren Shoshu and the priesthood, no matter what. In writing this novel, Daisaku Ikeda observed this policy out of respect for the great support he always received from the high priest at that time, Nitsatsu Shoshin, and always hoping that the attitude of the priesthood would change for the better.